Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon dose of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We are hours away now from the Eviction show. Feeds came back last night at around 10 p.m. Pacific time, so we've got a little bit of information. We're going to have a lot of opinions about all of that, the state of the game. Devon, as of recording time, she's still working. She's still fighting.
Yeah, she is. She thinks she might be able to get it, but we know where Christmas lands on stuff. That is where it's all landing, folks. Christmas.
Well, we'll talk through maybe some of that campaign, a little bit about where everything is when it comes to Devon knowing the truth about who flipped or who didn't actually flip, who was always there. But anyway, before we get into anything here, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more. Support us further as well by checking those links to the store, get a shirt like this one, or our Patreon.
Okay, so the wall yeller came in and told Devon and the whole house that Nicole was the person who didn't end up actually voting to keep Ian, and that was the truth of it all. So we were really hoping, obviously, that we were going to get to just see it play out naturally throughout the show. The wall yeller has decided that that's not the way that it was going to go. So they yelled that there has been some sort of a fallout, but because of the wall yeller, it seems that the feeds have been down for hours and hours and hours, and now we don't know what actually really was the fallout of it. It was just not given to us. We didn't get the live feeds. We didn't get to see what happened. Now it's like 24 hours later. We're getting tiny little trickles of things. And the biggest problem is they are going to have to show us something on the show, but they are not going to show that a wall yeller was there. It isn't going to happen. So we're not going to actually get the whole story or the whole truth.
I don't know if we're ever going to get the whole story, and that's where a lot of my frustration lies right now, because I understand a lot of people out there who are happy that Devon knows and that she doesn't have to get surprised or embarrassed or anything else on the live show tonight if Nicole never told her beforehand. But I think the problem here, and what makes it so complicated, we're not really ever going to figure out, okay, how did Devon react to this or that or whatever, because we all know we can't really trust the CBS edit, where they're probably going to make it seem like Devon has some sort of epiphany that like comes down from the heavens that she knows, and after the fact, everybody, whether it's intentional or not, they're going to have some element of revisionist history, or they're going to sort of talk about it through their own lens. So there may have been a really big fight over this where Devon and Nicole gets into it. Maybe it never ends up being on the show. Maybe we never really end up finding out about it at all.
Which is a complete bummer, because this season has been very predictable. It has been pretty dry. It really sucked that all of this did end up happening, but this was a gameplay that happened with Dani and Nicole. It ended up getting a lot worse than it should have. It worked, but it ended up, getting really, really bad. I just wanted to see how it was going to play out, and I'm not going to sit here and just go on about the Warriors, because I've expressed that I am done with it. It just really sucks that in a season that is this dry, that something that could have actually been real sort of drama or life moments is just gone into the ether, and we may never ever see it. So please stop. Stop. Just give us an opportunity to see how things are going to play out. There is no saving the season, so just stop.
Okay, David is going to save the season.
Yes!
David. See, we are believing in you, David.
You can do it.
The thing is,
I believe in you.
it's just the fact of the matter that CBS is punishing us at this point. Like, we had all these fun theories about, oh, maybe the neighbor's coming in early, or there's something else going down. It legit just feels like they were just annoyed at the wall yeller, so they kept the feeds down so we didn't get any of the fallout. Maybe they wanted to craft a narrative for tonight.
Yeah, as I said, I'm just disappointed. I'll leave it at that. There hasn't been enough of sort of these game moves that turned into sort of genuine moments, whether they're like really heated, there's some sort of feeling really bad about what happened. There's no genuine emotion of what's happened. It's all just like, who knows, man? We'll never get to know, so thanks.
We do know this. Devon has apologized to David. Like, they've clearly had some sort of discussion about it. It's hard to say exactly how David took it. Obviously, we didn't have feeds for it, but, he's still kind of grumbling. I've even heard him kind of say something along the lines of, it took a wall yeller for Devon to ultimately know the truth. And I get it. I get being upset and frustrated if I'm David. Granted, David is not, he's not completely innocent in having Devon not want to trust him either.
No, that's the thing about it, right? And that is part of the game, and that, Devon made some mistakes along the way where she held a lot back, and then David made a lot of mistakes
Yes.
along the way where, he told too much and then he lied about things badly and things just he didn't build enough credit with everybody. So they both were in a position that it made sense that when Nicole and Danny put together this move, that it was probably going to work. I didn't think it was going to work like this, and I don't think they expected that either. But this is why, because of how Devon played and how David played, they got here.
It's an interesting sort of case of multiple faults here, because Devon has not played a perfect game by any means. She's made multiple mistakes. She hasn't been able to win a lot of HOH competitions or anything else. David has made a number of mistakes because he really doesn't really have that much of a clue about Big Brother at all. Nicole and Danny have also made mistakes where I think a few weeks from now, we're going to look back at this Ian vote and be like, man, you guys really screwed that up when you had an opportunity to see some power away from all the bros.
I already feel that way about it. I think they really made a mistake there. That was the turning point of their game where they are no longer able to find any way to win.
So where we are right now is Devon, like Jess alluded to, she's having this conversation with Christmas where she's sort of trying this last-ditch effort, which I always love people who fight to the bitter end. I don't care who you are. This is how you play Big Brother. She's telling Christmas that she might have 3 votes. I'm assuming that they would potentially be Nicole, Danny, David. There's no guarantee she actually has these votes, but that's what she's claiming to Christmas.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of surprising after everything that's come out from this wall yeller that Devon would still think that she has Nicole's vote after this. And again, we don't know what the fallout is. So maybe there was a pretty honest, genuine conversation, because we have seen that Nicole's been feeling pretty bad about how it actually all unraveled. Because I honestly don't think she thought it was going to turn that bad. I don't think any of us expected it to turn that bad. But maybe she's like, listen, if I can make it up to you, I will. Maybe it's just Nicole and Danny really realize how much they actually need Devon in this game. I don't know what it is. We'll probably, hopefully, maybe see tonight.
Here's the funny thing, though. How bad, if Nicole and Danny actually do end up wanting to try to keep Devon in the game, how bad of an indictment is that on Kevin as like a possible ally to work with? That Devon is this person who they burn so badly, and yet they're like, you know what? She's still better than you, Kevin.
Yeah, that's rough.
Kevin's a terrible ally. We've already gone through this time and time again on here.
Oh, for sure.
So all of this stuff is going down, and there's a lot of chaos. It's kind of swirling about all this. In the end, I'm still going to miss Devon a lot if this is her last night. She's not a great Big Brother player, but she understands that it is a TV show, and I feel like there's a lot of people on here who are just sort of selfishly thinking about themselves, and I understand it's for $500,000. I'm not an idiot, but...
Yeah, and there's just a fun to Devon. Like, the fact that she's like, give me a punishment, or being part of Ian's punishments, and there is just a really fun element about her. So I'm going to be pretty bummed out tonight if she actually does end up going, and it seems like she's going to, because the person she's talking to is Christmas, and Christmas is not going to keep her.
All right, we'll look ahead a little bit here, because we're actually, I think, set up for a much more interesting upcoming few days than I would have even expected.
Yeah, because one of the things that's come up is that Danny has decided to tell Memphis about her power and that she may use it on him, which is, I think, a pretty good move. for a few reasons. It does work out then if Memphis wins again, that puts more of a spotlight on him and he can get more blood on him. It'll show that he's won HOH 3 times. He's going to be a problem. Nobody's going to want to go to the end with him, and that takes some of the heat off of Danny.
It's also just it's an interesting move because maybe it builds trust with Danny and Memphis. Maybe because Danny certainly knows there have been a lot of eyeballs on her, and maybe she'll think, okay, Memphis would be less likely to go after me maybe than some other people. But wouldn't it be funny, and I don't think this is going to happen, but what if she uses the power on Memphis, he wins, and then Memphis gets Danny out of the game?
I don't think he would at that point. He's got his sights focused on David because David is such a big threat in this house. Oh my God. He's got to get David out. So if he wins again, it's just going to be David and Kevin up there. And if, one of them comes down, they'll just put up whoever to get out whoever's left.
Here's the good news, yo. So Enzo... That's it. Enzo wants to make some big moves now. It is what it is. He may be wanting to go after Danny or
I'll believe it when I see it, Mr. I'm going to throw up Ian. That's it. I don't care, yo. Come on. Nothing happened. Enzo.
And okay, Enzo's talking to Tyler, though, and he's sort of making it clear he wants this one, which for some reason, okay, don't call Danny this one, Enzo. Come on. But he really seems to be kind of fixed on this as an idea, and I think Enzo's seeing the long game here, and this is why Enzo's an interesting player. If you get rid of Danny, if you're Enzo, you're splitting up Danny and Cody, and therefore you're making Cody potentially have to cling to you a little bit more. You're splitting up Danny and Nicole, so you're doing a lot of stuff, and you're keeping David, who probably is not going to have a lot that he can point to as solid gameplay at the end of all of this.
Yeah, Enzo is starting to kind of look at the idea of trading out Danny in the final 6 to bring in David in the final 6, which is a great move. David is not winning this game. As much as I'm sitting here being like, man, I really hope he wins HOH tonight. I do hope he wins HOH tonight. I don't need him to win the whole game. I just need to see the underdogs win one time this season. And I don't consider Kevin part of that because Kevin's just going to work with the big alliance. David is the last hope for that.
David is... He is the prince who was promised.
That's right.
He is the guy who can try to find a way to make this work. I'm assuming that this HOH is either questions or a crapshoot because they have to leave time, because I'm assuming this neighbor stuff is going to be in Sunday's episode. So I think we'll have a quick HOH. I'm worried that if it has any sort of memory or study component, we already know how David does with studying based on how he studied leading into this season.
Listen, I said it before, I'll say it again. They put a robot on Mars. He can win this HOH. It's just one thing.
Come on, David. And it doesn't feel at least as hopeless for David at this point because Tyler seems to be all right with David staying for a while. Enzo seems to be all right with Tyler staying. I feel like this is a week where Danny and Nicole, they are right there. They are a duo. Danny's put herself in the hot seat a little bit here by standing up for Devon here and there. She's sort of exposing a side alliance. We've seen that discussed on the episodes now.
I think in general, if Danny and Nicole do not win this, that unless it's Memphis who is going to go after David and Kevin, I think the other side is ready to take their shot at Nicole and Danny. Danny specifically, because Tyler has already been in people's ears about Danny. Over and over and over again. So Enzo coming to Tyler with this, they are ready for Danny to go. She's in trouble.
Worst case scenarios for entertainment here. Let's just get them here. Hopefully they will leave the universe. Number 1, Memphis wins HOH again. Nobody needs this. Number 2, Christmas wins HOH. And then she doesn't listen to Tyler and she just wants to go rogue.
Yeah, she will. She'll probably just go straight into the same thing that she'll just be like, we all just stick with the plan, get out Kevin, get out David, move along. It'll just be another one of those weeks, a Memphis week.
Let us have some fun at this point. Like, we really honestly need that. It seems like for now, though, nobody in the house seems altogether aware that the neighbor twist is coming, and I'm going to be very intrigued by what that happens. I will tell you also now to get it out of the way, my worst fear. What if the neighbor twist ends up helping the big dogs in the house and we have a David HOH and it just all completely goes...
Yeah, The problem is that almost every single twist that has been laid out from producers to be like, hey, underdogs, here's 3 powers that you guys can have, and only David wins them, is sort of, that's kind of the problem. There's been so many powers in this season and twists in this season, and it's just that this bigger alliance is so big that they just have more opportunities to win stuff.
We'll be back tonight. We'll go through a lot of this stuff. Hopefully, we will get a clear sense of some of what happened over the 24 hours that the feeds were down.
My theory, though, about this neighbor twist here is that if it has something to do with the HOH, the reason that they haven't told anybody yet what it is, like meaning us, is I think it's going to be like those 3 powers where it was like, oh, we have a disruptor power, and that's all you know is you know that what the name is, you don't know what it does, you don't know anything, and then you see them come into the room and it's like, Christmas, you've won this power that doesn't really mean anything, and Danny, you also won this power that doesn't really mean anything. Oh, David, disruptor power means everything. It just lets you do anything you want in this game. Okay, so you didn't actually explain the powers until afterwards. And that's sort of where I'm wondering if this twist is going to. They did not tell us what it does. They just told us that it's coming. David HOH? Oh man, you can evict 5 people. Who knew? If it's like a Tyler HOH and maybe it's like, oh, would you like to self-evict from the game? We have Money and Angela.
Remember when you played Monopoly, you get that card that was like, you go to jail immediately, do not pass go, do not... What if it is you, David, you have won the lump of coal power where you were able to drop a lump of coal on Christmas. She cannot play veto. There will not be 2 nominees. She automatically just leads the game.
That's right.
We'll have some fun with you guys later. We'll talk about the episode, so much more. What do you think is going to happen tonight? Give us all your theories in the comments. David. All right.
David.
If you guys like this video... I don't remember if I've already said all this stuff, but support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.